meaning. And as humans, one of the things that we hunger for most is purpose and meaning, but you can't have that purpose and meaning without the thing that you're pursuing be something that you believe to be worthwhile. So don't worry about whether or not it succeeds. Ask only about whether or not it's going to light you on fire. Ask only if in those dark moments that it will give you that sense of mattering to this world, that even in the failure, do you learn something about yourself? Do you see the truth that you matter? And that even as a single person, even as one individual, you can echo through this world. But that will never happen by pursuing something small. That will never happen by pursuing something simply because it can win. It will only happen by pursuing something that matters. And in that, if you pursue something that matters and you're able to get to the point where you can see it across the finish line, or at least advance it and make it a step closer to becoming real, in that, we realize how societies really are transformed. In that, in trying the big, the impossible, dreaming that thing that nobody else is even willing to talk about. In dreaming that, it is the crazy ones who are able to change the world, because the crazy ones allowed themselves to believe. They allowed themselves to believe that against all the odds, a world that does not yet exist could actually exist. And as Ralph Marsden said, welcome those big, sticky, complicated problems. In them are your most powerful opportunities. And that's it. The big problems, the ones that matter, the things that will give you purpose and meaning in your life, they're going to be hard. But if you can look at the hard things and show up and push every day and keep striving, and when you fall down, pick yourself back up and focus only on one thing, not whether or not you're going to win, but whether or not it matters that you played. If you do that, every sacrifice in your life will be worth it. And if not, nothing you gained will have mattered. As Friedrich Nietzsche said, many are stubborn in pursuit of the path they have chosen, few in pursuit of the goal. And that's one of the things that really trips people up. At the end of the day, a path is an option. It's one of the ways forward, but it's the thing that you're doing right now today. So people get really focused on that. They make their happiness built around that. They think about that as the thing. But as the old saying goes, don't confuse the finger with the moon that it's pointing at. That's where you've got to be really careful. At the end of the day, the goal is the thing that you're trying to achieve. The goal is what you're trying to get. The path is irrelevant. The path is really your best guess. It's the thing you think is going to work. But if you become myopically focused on that, if you think that the path really is the end thing, if you think the finger actually is the moon, then you miss the objective to which you're fighting for. Then you're not going to have the energy to keep pushing when things get really hard, because you're going to have mistaken the way of getting there with the destination itself. And I think that people a lot of times throw hate on having a destination, on building towards some big goal, of having some grand thing that they're chasing. But as Einstein said, if you want to live a happy life, tie it to a goal, not to people, not to things. And the reason that he said that, people and things, they change. You've got no control over them. At the end of the day, the only thing that you really control is yourself. At the end of the day, the only thing that you can hope for is to be going after something that has meaning, something that has purpose, something that really gives you a reason for being, that directs your actions, that becomes the filter by which you judge everything, that really becomes the center, the gravitational center of your own universe. But it's the goal, not the path. So what is it that you really want? You have to identify that. To me, everything in life starts with a goal, and you work your way backwards. Don't allow yourself to get caught up in other people and putting your happiness in somebody else and finding purpose in something else and trying to obtain things. Have it be something that you're trying to accomplish. Have it be something that you're trying to become. And once you're on the path to becoming, then you can find real happiness. You've got two choices in life. Choice one, you can become somebody else. Choice two, you can become yourself. Now, I really wish that there was only one choice, but in truth, there's not. And most people choose to try to become someone else because it's a roadmap. It's points in a direction. You see someone, you respond to something, you admire them, you want to be like them. And in that process, you've made your decision. In that process, you've decided to become somebody else. You have mistaken the finger for the moon. Instead, you need to understand that being inspired by somebody does not mean to become that person, to become that which inspires you. It is to understand fundamentally, what is it about that thing that excites you? What is it? What is its essence? And when you can find its essence, then you can find out how it would apply to you becoming you. And as Zen Shi says, a flower does not think about competing with the flower next to it. It just blooms. And that's really your job, is to see the outside world, to see the flower next to you, to understand the amazing things that are happening all around you, all of the incredible people and the essence of what they have, and what it is that they've done to bring inside yourself and find out, what does that look like when it's me? Not what do I look like when I'm them. And once you understand the difference between that, then you can really begin to be something unique. You can become that thing that you were meant to be, that thing that makes you feel alive and whole. And that's it. That's the secret. You're just trying to be something, not that's just inspiring to other people, but that you actually want to wake up every day and be. And that's the fucking thing about it. There's no escaping you. Whatever you become, a lie, the truth, somebody else, yourself, whatever it is, you're going to spend every day of your life there. And as Albert Einstein said, everybody's a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it's stupid. And that's what confuses people. People believe that they're dumb because they're not finding their path. They're not defining things based on what excites them and what they want to live with every day. They're just looking to what the outside world says is good. And I think it's incredible that there are other people doing things that are so extraordinary that we aspire to be like that. But you have to understand the difference between being like someone and trying to actually be them. So if what inspires you is that somebody works hard, work hard. If what inspires you is that somebody gets up every time they fail, get up every time you fail. If what you like is that they're themselves with all their weird eccentricities and quirks, then be true to your eccentricities and quirks, but don't try to embody their eccentricities and quirks. That's the surest way to become the fish that thinks it's stupid because it's being judged by trying to climb a tree. So Scott Belsky said, when 99% of the people doubt your idea, you're either gravely wrong or about to make history. And that's the terrifying part. You're not going to know. You're not going to know the difference. But if you're chasing somebody else's path, if your whole game is emulation, if your whole game is to mimic that which inspires you, you will never find the thing that's real about you. And look, I don't know about you, but I can be wrong. I can be gravely wrong. I can have people think me an idiot and try something and fail as long as it was true to me. Because then the lesson that I'm going to learn is going to apply. It's going to take me another step closer to actually being the person that I want to become, that I want to live with every day. I can't be that if I don't understand who I want to be. So look inward, identify your path, identify what excites you, and go after it as if your life depends on it. Because in truth, it does. All right, listen and listen well, because no truer words are ever going to be fucking spoken. You can do anything you want without limitation. Whatever it is that you decide you want to make come true in your life, you can do that. It is going to take an inhuman amount of work. You're going to have to be prepared to break yourself in half. You are going to have to learn more than anyone has ever learned. You're going to have to push yourself harder than anyone has ever asked you to push yourself before. You're going to go way beyond your breaking point. You're going to run until you vomit. You're going to study until you fall asleep. You're going to push and push and push, and then you're going to push some fucking more. And when you hit the limit, you're going to push again beyond that. You're going to force yourself to an adaptation response. And why? Because as Malcolm X said, the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. So if you don't put the work in today, if you don't do the unending, back-breaking work of developing yourself into something greater, the world is going to pass you by. The people that are going to own it are going to be the ones that did that work. And the one promise that I can make you right now is that somebody out there is out working. Somebody right now is doing the things that I'm saying. Somebody right now is doing the work of failing and getting up and getting better and pushing themselves and triggering that glorious adaptation response that makes humans the apex predator. Someone right now, they're putting in that work. And if you don't, the future is going to belong to them. And as Martin Luther King Jr. said, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. It's not okay to make excuses. It's not going to slow people down. It's not okay to ask the world to stop so that you can step out front. It's not okay to expect little of yourself and demand great rewards. The only thing that's okay is to be in line with the way that the world really works. And if you want to be great, you've got to become capable of greatness. You've got to develop your skill set. You've got to take what you have now, and if that's crawling, then fucking crawl. But you drag yourself ever forward to a vision of yourself that is so clear and so specific that nothing could knock you off your path, because you, my friend, know exactly where you're going. You're willing to pay whatever price it takes to get there. And no matter what anybody says, no matter how many fucking hecklers come for you, no matter how many people try to throw dirt on you, try to stop you, try to knock you down, no matter how many fucking people come for you at night while you sleep, you will rise. And you will keep pushing forward, and you will get better every day. And no matter how many times people chop at you, knock you down, knock you off the path, you will get back on. You will crawl till you can walk. You will walk till you run, and then you will run until you fly. And that, my friends, is the only path forward. So if you want a fucking future that makes you happy, if you want a world that you're excited about, get your ass out there and earn it. As Ernest Hemingway noted, the world breaks everyone, and afterward, many are stronger in the broken places. But my question is, why isn't everyone? To me, it comes down to the strategies that you use. There really isn't anything objectively good or bad. There isn't anything that happens to you that can't be overcome. There isn't anything that could happen to you, anything that when you turn inward, you can't find a reason to overcome. You can't find a way to put those pieces back together, and that becomes your job. It becomes literally up to you whether you're going to sit and wallow and woe is me, because what happened, happened, and there's no way to take it back. But how you respond, what you bring to that table, whether you meet fire with fire, whether you meet that adversity with falling apart, becoming weaker in the areas that broke, or you bind them and mend them, and it becomes like a weld that literally makes you stronger, is a choice. And it's a choice only you get to make. But as Stephen Hawking said, when you complain, nobody wants to help you. There are many things in your life you have every reason to complain about. You have every reason to be upset by the things that have happened to you. The most sinister thing about excuses is they're valid. There's a million reasons why you should be able to give up. There's a million reasons why you shouldn't need to try. That thing that broke you, you should be allowed to just sit on the ground. And here's the thing, that's your right. You have every reason to do it. And maybe people won't even think less of you. But here's the truth. You either become weaker or stronger in the places that broke, and that's a choice of how you react moving forward. The great news is, the best thing that you can do to become stronger is love yourself. And as Kamal Ravikant said, loving yourself is a practice. People think that it's something that's going to feel right, that it's going to feel natural, that you're just going to turn inward, and there it is, this spark of love and joy for yourself, inside yourself. But the truth is, that's just not the human experience. That's not the way that it works. There's going to be a voice inside your head, and it's going to blame you. It's going to say that it's your fault. And no matter how many times people on the outside tell you that that is not true, that this thing happened to you, that it isn't you, it doesn't define you, there will be a voice that's going to tell you that it does. And that's where you have to fall back on process. That's where you have to realize that you literally have to practice loving yourself, and that it's okay, that no matter what happens, there is absolutely nothing that invalidates that you're worthy of your own love. But you've got to practice it. You've got to be willing to do it. You've got to be willing to put in the reps. You've got to know that it's not going to feel right, but you've got to know on the other side of that is a vision of your life where you actually do love yourself. Because you took the time to say it. You took the time to practice it. You took the time to sit there and feel stupid and say that you love yourself. And sometimes just putting in the work is what you need to do to get strong. So put in the work. As Daniel Pink said, people fail to achieve mastery not because they aren't talented, but because they aren't disciplined. The wonderful news about the human condition is you can get good at anything that you set your mind to. It's just not going to be easy, and it's not going to be fast. But the willingness to put in that work is what's going to separate you from everybody else. And I'm begging you to see yourself right now, today, as average, as no better than anyone else. But I beg you, with more force than I know how to convey with this language, to see yourself as malleable, to see yourself as capable of becoming anything you want to become truly extraordinary, if you can find within yourself the discipline to stick with it long enough. And as Steve Martin said, perseverance is a great substitute for talent. Everybody wants to talk about who's talented. Everybody looks at the person with innate talent as if they have something magical. But to me, it's a gift, it's a handout, it's a freebie. It hasn't been earned. And no matter what it is, it's only the beginning. Even somebody that has talent, even if you get an early win, if you let somebody outwork you, if you let somebody who has more perseverance, more grit than you, then they are going to outperform you on a long enough timeline. The only thing I can guarantee is you will be outworked by somebody unless you pour your heart and soul into getting great. If you don't take days off, if you put yourself into it as if your life depended on it, when you act like that, then you've got a chance to be great. And as Robert Horry said, pressure can bust pipes, but it can also make diamonds. You've got to want that pressure. You've got to want things to be hard. You can't seek out the easy life. You can't just hope and pray that you can uncover inside of you some talent that's laid dormant that you didn't know about that's going to let things be easy for you. Don't want the easy. Want the hard. Want the pressure. Want the thing that's going to turn you into something.
Very nice.
Because when it's easy,
Sweat.
you don't work for it. When it's easy, you don't push. When it's easy, you get surpassed by the person who has to give it their all, who's prepared to do blood, sweat, and tears in order to become that thing that they want to be so badly because they are so fucking angry that they were never given anything. And with that chip on their shoulder, they're determined to become anything that they set their mind to. So whether you have talent, whether you don't, the only thing that matters is will you persevere? Will you stick with it long enough to get great? As Thomas Jefferson said,